If we are speculating something bad and something good happens, excellent, you'll only feel better. But if you're anticipating something negative or bad and that actually happens, well, at least you were prepared for it. At least you knew it was coming. So you were ready to brace yourself when that would happen. Hi, my name is Kuber. Welcome to the channel. Today's video is about NOC codes, National Occupation Classification. What we're going to do today is we're going to do several questions, and I know so many of you have so many questions about this. If you're here for a quick answer, then the quick answer is stop panicking. It is not changing tomorrow. No changes are happening tomorrow. No changes are expected to happen even this year as far as the NOC codes are concerned. These changes, what we're going to talk about today as far as the NOC code changes are concerned, or NOC 2021 is concerned, these will take effect next year, probably second part of the year next year, and whatever changes will happen then. And before making those changes, trust me, there will be a lot of information available. There'll be a lot of notifications on websites. There'll be a lot of notification on the IRCC website because they will need to inform you beforehand. So that will be available. What is this NOC 2021 and what do you need to do in order to be prepared for when the changes happen? So stick around for that. First one is what is a NOC code, okay? It defines as National Occupation Classification. This code, as I said, is designed by, or this database of all these occupation codes together is designed by the Government of Canada. NOC code is not designed by IRCC. IRCC, Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, is just one of the federal departments that also uses the NOC database because it's a standardized database. And the NOC levels are defined or decided based on occupational skill level, the education, the experience, the duties, the roles, the industry type. All those will define how an NOC is designed and classified. If there are any changes that would happen in future, then these changes also have to be enacted within the regulations. Without the changes being enacted in the regulations, within the law itself, those changes can actually not be implemented. What are the current skill levels? So these are the 2016 levels, skill type level A. Okay, we have, as of right now, there are 28% of the occupation codes which are under skill type A. Then you have level B, 42%, level C, 24%, and level D, 6%. Now these skill types, and don't worry about these links. These links are all in the description box below. Now, if you ever were wondering what is your skill type, if the second digit, you see, this is where it says when the second digit, if your second digit is 0 or 1, then you are skill type level A. If your second digit is 2 or 3, then your skill type level B. If your second digit of your NOC code is 4 or 5, you will be level C. And if the the second digit of your NOC code is 6 or 7, then your NOC code, basically skill type, would become level D. For example, if your NOC code is 6221, the second digit being number 2, and number 2 would then correspond with skill type B. So these are the current NOC skill levels: 0, A, B, C, and D. So basically 0 plus 4 skill levels. So what is NOC 2021? So NOC 2021 basically is, it is designed every 10 years. So the earlier version, the main version was NOC 2011. That was in 2011. Then what we are using currently now in Express Entry, where you check your NOC, we are using 2016, NOC 2016, because after 5 years, there were some small modifications made. So that version that we are using currently is NOC 2016. The next version that we will be using would be the NOC 2021. Every 10 years, there is a redesign or not redesign basically, but reclassification to understand what they can do better and classify where it needs to be classified. So that's your NOC 2021. Which has already been released. The preliminary version is already available. The exact content of that will be released, I think, towards the end of this year or probably early next year. What are the significant changes to the NOC 2021? So this is the notice of release, the redesign of the National Occupation Classification, NOC 2021. The revising of the NOC is happening basically because they now need to give more importance to the different training, education, responsibilities, and experiences that have overhauled the different classifications. The current NOC structure, which is NOC 2016, is categorized based on two major attributes of jobs. the broad occupational category and the skill level. However, in the 2021, they are also going to incorporate the different levels of education plus the experience and responsibilities factors as well. Therefore, the new revision will structure by introducing a new categorization. So the earlier, the level of experience was not given that much of importance. And when they were talking about education, the education was quite broad. And the big effect happened in NOC skill level type B. Earlier, you had NOC 0, A, B, C, D. Okay, 0 was for management jobs, A was for more professional occupations, which required university degrees, B was for professional occupations, C and D was for occupations where you did not require that much of education or also considered as your entry-level jobs. With the new tier system, they have redefined. So instead of A, B, C, D, you will now have 0, still obviously 0 has to be there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The biggest difference has happened for the NOC skill type B. The B has now been expanded into tier level 2 and tier level 3. That is where the biggest differentiation has happened. The 4 and 5 still corresponds to skill type C and D. It is the NOC B that has primarily been opened up and broadened to incorporate or rather to now become tier 2 and tier 3. Now let's take a look at it again as to where is this talking about. The impact on users is what I want to refer to. I've lost my note that I made here, so I could have given you the direct indication. Okay, just give me a moment till I find that again. I can't seem to find it right now. Yeah, I mean, it has to be here. Occupations usually requiring a post-secondary education of 2 to 3 years are still going to be classified in tier 2, and tier 3 would be those occupations requiring less than 2 years of post-secondary education. So this has now been changed from, so earlier in NOC skill type B, okay, so before I start confusing you more, in NOC skill type B, the requirement was not for a university degree. The skill type B had the requirement of education of 2 to 3 years of formal education, could be diploma, could be apprenticeship. Now with tier level 2, it is 2 to 3 years of education. With tier level 3, it is less than 2 years of education or apprenticeship or significant amount of work experience. So this has been the fundamental differentiating factor between tier level 2 and tier level 3, which was basically combined and put as skill type B. So what is tier? Tier as in training, education, experience, and responsibilities. As I just explained to you, this is indicative of 6 levels, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This new 5-digit classification revision includes 6 grouping of categories called tier, which represents the training, education, experience, and responsibilities. The tier in conjunction with the broad groups of occupation forms the basis of revised classification structure. These are the broad descriptions of your NOC 2021. The first digit identifies the occupation. The second digit identifies the tier. Okay, the second digit will tell you what the tier number or your tier segment is. And therefore, the first 2 digits put together are identified as the major group, and the next 3 digits identify their hierarchy within the group. So you don't have to confuse yourself with all this at this point of time. What is the major group? What is the minor group? All you need to be really, really worried or interested is the second digit, which is your tier categorization. When does this take effect? Now, there are 2 different conflicting information which is available on this particular website. The implementation dates for the new classification version will vary based on when program entities or organizations or individual decides to use it. For example, IRCC in conjunction with ESDC is aiming to adopt the revised NOC structure in spring 2022 for the management of temporary and permanent resident programs. However, there is a more latest version which is here, and the later is expected to be implemented and become the official classification used by ESDC. Now, ESDC is Employment Social Development of Canada, and obviously if ESDC is not using it, I don't expect IRCC to be using it. And this is mentioned in the second half of 2022. Second half would probably mean June, July onwards. In both situations, it's going to be in 2022. And trust me, you will have plenty of information, plenty of notification that will tell you that this is, taking time. If you remember the budget proposal that created a bit of a hype earlier this year, and that was where the minister had proposed that the Minister of Immigration should have more discretion when they're choosing the knock codes to invite people in express entry. Well, this could also have a connection to the same thing, whereby the express entry will now look a bit different when the selections happen, when the invitations are being issued, where there could be an indication of specific knock category type, knock tier type, or knock numbers, or the knocks which would be identified and say, okay, we want to invite these knocks. Again, at this point of time, this is purely speculation because we don't really know how this will be adopted. So you don't have to sort of take this with a pinch of salt. Don't have to sort of going into a total hyper mode and thinking, okay, this is all doomsday for express entry. It's not. It's just an onset or basically an understanding of what are the proposed changes and what could indicatively affect in the coming time, so that you can prepare accordingly. So this all obviously also has an effect on express entry. Now, with skill type B having been broadened into tier type 2 and tier type 3, this is where it becomes tricky, because and this is where most of the people are freaking out, because if you have now realized your skill type is for example, earlier it was skill type B and now it will be tier 3. And I'll give you one example. Now, 1241, as you can see, the second digit is number 2. And as I already told you, second digit will define your knock skill type B as far as 2016 knock code is concerned. So this number 2 identifies skill type B. However, as far as the new knock codes are concerned, with the knock 2021, the digit number is 3, and that is indicative of tier level number 3. If at all, as what we are thinking or as we are trying to figure out what would be the effect of this. Now, when the classification is identifying that the education is less than 2 years, and it's sort of giving a priority between, or rather it is giving significant difference between tier 2 and tier 3 by way of education and by way of experience, therefore tier 3 now becomes at a lower level than tier 2. And with a knock code now changing from current skill type B and going into tier 3, this is a bit of a worry, to be very honest. And this kind of a knock code obviously is going to raise a concern for a lot of people, because a lot of people, knock code 1241 is a very, very popular knock code here. And it is used by a lot of students in Canada when they complete their education. They, these jobs are quite common. These are entry-level jobs as well. And people can easily find a position of an administrative assistant. And so knock 1241 was quite common. As of right now, we don't know whether tier level 3 would continue to be eligible or not. So it is purely speculation. And a lot of people say we should not speculate because only, you should go as per the law, and speculation is dangerous and speculation is this. Well, my opinion is that, yes, I understand speculation can create panic, but speculation can also help you plan better. Because if you're not going to speculate, if it's going to be good or bad, you do not know what to expect and what to plan. Good, you're obviously happy, right? Everything is all bright and nice and shiny. But if it's not that, at least if you are prepared, you can tackle it, you can attack it when it happens. So as far as I'm concerned, I mean, speculation is fine as long as you're not harming anybody. In this particular case, if you've identified that you could be in tier level 3 and prospectively, and the way things are looking, tier level 3 could be one of those categories which are on the borderline from the way the things are seeming at this point of time with the broad description of what we have read. So there could be a big possibility when the minister is trying to make a decision as to which knock codes they want to invite, then tier 3 is the one which would obviously come under some discretion. That probably is the right word. This impact is also going to transpire on other applications. And what do I mean by that? So it's not only express entry. Now, you see, in the current situation, a lot of students who come to Canada, at some point of time, they will get their postgraduate work permit. Once they get their postgraduate work permit, they obviously seek employment. And when they seek employment, they obviously are looking for at least a knock B level job so that they can be eligible in express entry and then be able to apply under Canadian Experience Class. Not only that, if they are married, then obviously the reason, or rather one way of inviting their spouse for an open work permit, or if their spouse is already in Canada because the spouse had an open work permit while they were students, in order to get their spouse a continuing open work permit, they need to have a skill level B, at least a skill. It should be 0A or B. So they need to have at least a skill level B job and 3 to 4 pay stubs in order to be able to get their spouse an open work permit. So for them also, this categorization of moving from skill type B into tier 2 or tier 3 will become something that they have to be aware of. Now, what other application types? Well, hello. PNPs, I mean, right, all PNPs are also around occupations and around jobs. They are also around skill types. There are certain provinces who have who will accept skill C's and skill type C and D, for example, Prince Edward Islands under the critical worker stream. But more largely, most of the provinces have programs where, again, they are also targeting skill type 0A or B. Now, again, with this categorization changing, their streams, program streams are also bound to change. Not only those programs, you also have AIPP, Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, also RNIP. So you see, fundamentally, pretty much all the immigration programs are going to be affected. And not only the immigration programs, also your temporary foreign worker program or temporary foreign worker program, where does that make a difference? Currently, we have high wage and low wage when we process LMIA applications. Again, these categorization of NOC codes is going to have an impact there as well. There could be a possibility that this employment requirement also becomes part of your requirement for being eligible and for choosing the NOC code. So this at this point of time is a bit of, again, speculation. Yes, I absolutely agree, it's a speculation, but there is no harm in anticipating, good or bad. You see, if we are speculating something bad and something good happens, excellent, you'll only feel better. But if you're anticipating something negative or bad, and that actually happens, well, at least you were prepared for it. At least you knew it was coming, so you were ready to brace yourself when that would happen. That's the only, I guess, difference, or that's the only benefit in speculating at this point of time. But yes, these are the things that you should be aware of. These are things you should be knowing. And what will happen to the existing applications? Nothing. Absolutely nothing is going to happen to the existing applications. Well, if you have already submitted your application, you have your AOR, you're waiting for your PPR, you're waiting for your ECOPR, well, go back to sleep. This video is not for you. It's pretty much been already established so many times. Any changes that happen to your circumstances, which are not directly related to your family circumstances kind of a thing, your application does not get affected, because on the day you submitted, the conditions surrounding your application on that particular day are locked, and therefore your assessment is done as per those particular criteria. So you don't have to worry if your application is already in process. What should you be doing about this? Now, this obviously is something which we can talk about. Mind you, at this point of time, it's purely speculation. This could very well, because it's not like you're going to have 1 year of experience by the time these changes come into play. It's not like you're going to change your job today itself and start looking for what you can do tomorrow. However, being aware is what is more important. And the only effect, as at this point of time anticipated, is with that tier 2 and tier 3 segregation. It's quite possible tier 3 is also going to be included in the eligibility, and we will just continue. So instead of saying NOC 0A or B, you would now say tier 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is absolutely possible. It's not to sort of say tier 3 is definitely going to be removed out. So before we get to that stage of absolutely, jumping over the cliff, just wait it out. As I said, these changes are not going to happen overnight. IRCC will, by all understanding, will disclose this information, will basically come out and say, okay, these are the changes which we're going to bring in, because they will have to give everybody time. It is not going to happen overnight that from tomorrow onwards, this has come into effect and tier 3 is not going to be eligible. It is going to create a big mess, not only for federal skilled workers who are outside, but also for Canadian Experience Class who is inside, and also for people who are eligible for open work permits, because, a significant amount of time, money, effort has been put into the whole process. So if at all, and when IRCC is looking to change this, I absolutely expect that they would be giving you significant amount of time, because this is a very big policy decision. If at all they were choosing to remove certain segments of occupations which were earlier eligible to now not being eligible. So you would have enough time to prepare, plan, etc. However, if you're a new student, if you are a student who is going to start Embark or who's going to be looking at postgraduate work permits later on, maybe 6 months, 8 months down the line, then for you, you should be aware. You should be prepared that something like this could be happen. Again, speculation, but only for your own benefit, only for your own good. It could be negative, it could be positive. But if it's positive, excellent, hurrah. If it's negative, then at least you are prepared for it. And that, my friends, is the purpose for discussing this big expected, anticipated changes with NOC, now being referred to or moniker being NOC 2021. What I've just discussed with you is primarily what I think, what I have understood of all the research that I've done on this so far. And yeah, I know there is already that panic which has already set in, and the way things are nowadays in life, we all get panicked pretty quick, right? Anything happens, we all start panicking because we all start expecting the doomsday happening. While this tier 3 thing is going to create a bit of concern, and until IRCC comes out and very specifically and categorically state that tier 3 is going to be included, it is going to sort of stay on top of everybody's head who basically are now into tier 3 category. It is not going to affect a whole lot of people. There will be obviously certain NOC codes who are going to be affected, but vast majority is just going to very nicely, just sail through with this new process. You don't need to make any changes with their Express Entry profile because these changes are not implemented yet. So even if you try to make these changes in the Express Entry profile, you can't, because you will not find these NOC codes there. So that database has not been updated, that system has not been updated. So as I said, it will take time. So don't freak out at this point of time. Just the idea is just to sort of give you a thumbs up, to say something like this is going to happen. It's over the horizon. It will happen for sure. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then I don't know what you're waiting for. To hit that subscribe button here. Like and share, of course. Share it with your friends who are also panicking and not understanding what this NOC 2021 is and means. And they probably will also have a better insight just like you do now. Thank you for joining in. Stay safe.